are now watching the leaping lemur.
Also, I'm still in my same group home. Everybody says, oh, I did bad, I deserve to be evicted. Well, if you guys look, I'm still here. So, it just shows that I didn't do anything wrong.
Alright y'all, here we go. Today we're going to be talking about Andrew Ditch once again. Now it's been a while since I talked about Andrew Ditch, and I'll tell you guys right now, this isn't just the funny normal lolcow video, you know, the normal Andrew Ditch video. This is something else, because some pretty crazy shit went down. Andrew Ditch's mother actually passed away, and Andrew's reaction to this whole situation has been pretty wild. Now obviously I'm going to start off this video by giving my condolences to the family. You know, rest in peace to Janet, that was Andrew Ditch's mother's name, and you know, Joe is dealing with this great, but he needs everybody's support. I think he has a GoFundMe set up, so it'd be great if you guys could check out his channel, but so far he's dealing with this a lot better than Andrew has been. Now what I mean by this is that so far Joe has given his condolences to his mother, he's been supportive of his family, he's been there through all the funeral proceedings, he started a GoFundMe, he's been there, right? Whereas Andrew Ditch has been just making the whole situation about himself. Now I understand that everybody grieves differently, but once you guys hear what this dude had to say right after his mother's passing, I feel like you'll agree that this dude said some really fucked up things, like he was really inconsiderate about his mother's passing. This is what Andrew Ditch had to say on Facebook. He wrote, "I want you to know, Mom, that I have help for my disability and needs. I am safe. The hard work you have done to help me is all paid off. I just want to hold you, but I couldn't get there in time to see you. I was hoping to see you tomorrow, but we will see you again someday. I wanted to say how I forgive you about not accepting my incontinence and things you had a hard time with doing because of your back, and how if you didn't have back issues, you probably could have handled me as a kid. Having autism was not your fault or Mike's fault. I hope he forgives you too. I know I did." So his initial post is basically him making the whole situation about himself and then saying that he forgives his mom for not wiping his ass. This is exactly what he means. If you guys don't know what incontinence is, he's basically saying like he can't hold in his own shit. So his mother didn't want to wipe his ass, and that's what he's angry at her for. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Joe's been dealing with this situation with grace. His response was short, simple, sweet. He said, "I'm sorry to break the news, but my mother passed away, so there will be no bits and bobs this weekend. Please pray for her and my family as we go through this difficult time. I promised her before we left that I will take care of my brother to the best of my ability." So obviously Joe's gonna have a lot on his hands when it comes to Andrew, because he's still not giving up his shit. He's making videos where he's, you know, talking to the trolls and he's bragging to them about how he's in the group home still. It's pretty fucking sick. And all this is being done in between a video where he's trying to give condolences to his mother. So yeah, after getting a little bit of hate, Andrew decided to make a video where he was a lot more gracious to his mother. Don't get me wrong, it seemed like he was actually genuine. But alongside all that, he was also talking about the trolls and talking about how people wanted to get him kicked out of his group home. He was still finding ways to make it about himself. Just watch this video, y'all, and let me know what you guys think.
Hi, I'm Andy Ditch here. I don't know how to word this. Joe called me last night and said that apparently people are accusing me of making some very dangerous and sick about my mom, and that's not true. My family doesn't need that, and I don't need that. My brother knows that I didn't do anything because I have parent controls on my devices. Also, I'm still in my same group home. Everybody says, oh, I did bad, I deserve to be evicted. Well, if you guys look, I'm still here. So, it just shows that I didn't do anything wrong. And I'm sorry that you think that I'm such a badass person, a troublemaker, and makes it tough for everybody. But people here at my group home really love me. It helps me. Enough of that. And the part that I'm having a hard time dealing with. My mom died yesterday, and everything that she has done for me and my family it will never be forgotten from my mom. I just have this feeling that my mom may be in heaven for everything that she has done, and that I love you, Mom, and I know that you are really happy with me, because I'm doing better, and I have people who are helping, and getting, and I have a lot of things going better for me, and I have dedicate a state of place. I have a lot of things that you have fought for me over the years, that your hard work finally paid off for me, Mom. And that is a kind of person that I want to be, even with my autism and developmental issues. Because, Mom, even with my disability, there are a lot of things I can do. And you've proven that with me. When you were healthy, I had a lot of people help me and take care of me and help you. I was able to work. And Mom, Dad's gotta be proud for you to do all that for me, and I don't want to let you down, and I promise you one thing: I'll never forget about you, and I love you, Mom.
I mean, this video is pretty nuts if you think about it. This is supposed to be a video that's dedicated to his mother who passed away, and most of the video he's talking about himself or what she did for his autism. It's very odd. Instead of giving his condolences, he decides that he's going to talk about how she helped him and how he's going to make her proud by, I guess, sitting in a group home all day and shitting in a diaper. I don't understand it. There were some parts in this video that did seem genuine though. There were parts where he was talking about some memories with his mother, which were nice, but then he would jump back to talking about how he's in a group home and his autism and how she fought for him to have rights as an autistic individual, like all this crazy stuff about himself, right? And not really focusing as much on her. It's weird. This guy can't stop talking about his autism for 1 second, not even when he's making a video, you know, talking about his condolences for his mother. He can't stop for a second and be like, okay, let me not make this about myself. Let me just talk about the good things that my mom did for everybody, how good of a person she was. He could have just left it at that. But he starts off this video complaining about how people are supposedly saying that he's making threats towards his mother and how people are fucking with his family, like all this crazy stuff, right? I'm sure there are some people fucking with him, but I don't think that that's a mass thing. And if it is, it's because Andrew did poison his family. There's a news article that states he poisoned his family. It's like Tawanda man poisons family. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally the title of the article, and then you see his face. So maybe that's why people might think you have some kind of grudge towards your family. I don't know. I'm sure Joe would attest to this. It seems like you have some shit going on between you and your family. It's been like this for years. And I'm not saying that that means that you can't miss your mother. Like, of course you can miss your mother, but that's why people are saying things like this. It's because of the issues that you've had in the past with your mother and the way that you're taking this, the way that you're going about talking about your mother, how you're saying you forgive her for not cleaning your ass. Like, do you understand how nasty that is? How vile that is? That you're making this all about your fake autism diagnosis? Now, Andrew did make a few community posts at this time. The first one that I want to read kind of gives us a little bit more detail into the people that were claiming that he was posting threats towards his mother. And this gives me a lot of clarity. It shows that they aren't talking about past threats. They're talking about current threats that he could have made using AI, apparently. Andrew wrote, "My brother Joe said some things, how someone claims I'm using AI and posting about my mom and others, and admitted I did some sick stuff that Joe didn't want to go into. I'm not going to say anything more. If you think it was me, report the channel or the username to the FBI. They can get the ISP and everything on who posted. When they get that, they will see that I didn't do anything. I'm not on social media. I have parental control. I'm not going to respond to anything about what people say because I don't care what you think or what you say. You are all bored, wanting attention, and to hurt people." He continued about a week later, writing about how he was back at his group home. He wrote, "I'm back at my group home after being at my dad's last night. I will be at my group home and won't be going back to visit my dad until Sunday and Monday to get the rest of my stuff. I hope you all like to see I'm doing well. I was off routine today and last night. I'm overstimulated. My caregiver helped me shower and to use my calming soaps to help me regulate. I have my computer, laptop, and more now at my home. Good night, everybody. Super sleepy." Apparently, Andrew really does have some crazy ass setup that's paid for by the state. Andrew doesn't have a job, and this bro's got like a fucking dual monitor setup, a whole whole ass separate laptop. He's got like fucking tablets up the wazoo, right? This dude's got hella electronics, and all that shit's being paid for by the state. Finally, we have this last post, which is probably the worst in the bunch. Andrew is in a suit, and he wrote in the caption, "Dad and Joe helped me change my diaper and get dressed neatly for Mom's funeral. I miss my mom. I'm trying really hard to support my family through this rough time." This dude's mom passed away, and he couldn't even try to change himself. He had to force his father and his brother to do it for him. How fucking sick is that? We all know he's capable of doing these things. He worked real jobs in the past. He owned a fucking computer repair business. He had a YouTube channel where he would talk about like modems and routers and different parts of computers and shit, and he actually knew what the fuck he was talking about. But you're telling me this dude doesn't have enough dexterity to wipe his own ass? I don't believe it. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, I wanted to show you guys one of the last videos that Andrew Ditch uploaded where he's actually talking himself. Now, it's a little hard to follow, so I'm only going to show you guys a bit of it. But from what I understand, Andrew Ditch is claiming that the hospitals that had discharged him are being fined. So like apparently it's something about like justice served. He's basically trying to say that he won. He's trying to say that he took a W, when in reality, I don't think it has anything to do with him. But in the video, he seems to make it a big deal. I'm just gonna show you guys the beginning of the video. It's like 20 minutes long. I'm only gonna show you guys a little bit of it, and you guys can let me know if you understand what the fuck he's talking about, but most of it just sounds like bullshit.
Hi, YouTube. I am Andrew Ditch here, and I have something to share with you, and something that my dad told me the other day. So my dad wanted to tell me something, and I want to tell you this. He got a stack full of letters, like this big, like literally. I saw it when I was there at his house for my mom's funeral, and they're all addressed to him for me. They were from Medicare, the Health and Human Services, Civil Rights Investigation. They were from the Attorney General of both federal and state. They were from Ohio State. They were from Pennsylvania State. They were from Univera, Medicare, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and Medicare, and even Social Security. They would have letters. And in those letters, he opened many of them. And part of those letters, and let me go back to this a little bit, some of those letters that he also got on top of that was letters from bills, actual bills of thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of bills from New Fame Rehab, from Rochester Regional, from Strong Memorial Medical Center. Okay, that's all from the time of last year. New Fame, and all of them were billing my dad and trying to put him in collections. That dad owes $0. I owe $0. The Obamacare Act is why. So a doctor cannot just say, oh, he doesn't have autism or he isn't diagnosed. Because one, I have been diagnosed with all the information that I have, all the testing I have done, every single bits and pieces that were done by one doctor, and then another doctor, and then another doctor, because they didn't do a complete assessment by one doctor. That is why I got this done.
Now, I told y'all the audio was pretty fucked up, but I tried my best to make it as listenable as possible. But if you didn't know what he said, in the first half he talked about how his dad got a bunch of letters and like a bunch of bills and various items from different places that he stayed at. Then he continues on and talks about how his diagnosis of autism was actually verified, and that means that these people can't charge him because they mistreated him and, you know, they diagnosed him wrong, is basically what he's trying to say, so he shouldn't owe shit. Now, as As I mentioned earlier, Andrew is currently receiving help. Somebody accepted his autism diagnosis and he's in a group home for that reason. So basically what he's doing is using that to the best of his advantage. He's been doing that against trolls. He's been doing it against actual people in the medical field. Like, this dude will pull out that diagnosis and he'll say, hey, look, they actually said I was autistic. You can't say I fake anymore. But through what we've seen in the past, we know that Andrew Ditch likely doesn't have autism. He probably has something else. He definitely has some kind of disorder. This guy isn't just like perfectly fine. I don't think he's perfectly fine at all. If you put up this charade for as long as he's been putting it up, there's something wrong with you mentally, right? But it's definitely not autism. And we know that from various medical records that have came out in the past. Shit, we don't even gotta look at the medical records. There's video evidence of Andrew Ditch acting very different from what he acts now. He tries to infantize himself to make it seem like he has autism, because in his mind, that's how autistic people function. He thinks that they need to be taken care of 24/7 or something. Now, all that aside, one of the most important things to probably take into consideration when viewing this video is that this shit was uploaded on Mother's Day, after his mother's passing. He uploaded this video where he's talking about like how he won, you know, how he won everybody. Look at me, I really got diagnosed with autism, and all these people, yeah, fuck them for trying to bill me. They're wrong. Like, come on, dude, you couldn't mourn your mom for any longer? You couldn't just think, okay, let me not make this video rubbing it into everybody's face that I'm being taken care of, and somehow I was able to actually get a diagnosis. Like, he's just rubbing it in everybody's face on Mother's Day, right after his mother's passing. It's disgusting. So far, all we've seen Andrew Ditch do in this video is talk about himself, be worried about what's going on in his life, and brag about how he's being taken care of. It's basically all we've seen. Listen, I know everybody grieves in a different way, but this just isn't it. The way that he's sprinkling in all this bullshit in between posts about his mother's passing is insane. He couldn't drop it for any amount of time. He couldn't drop it for a fucking day or two, right? Just to mourn her. Literally in the post where he's mourning her, he has to mention his autism in both of them. In one of them, he says that he forgives her for not, you know, wiping his ass. In the next one, he took the opportunity to brag to all the trolls that he was still being taken care of and people loved him at his group home. Finally, on Mother's Day, we don't see Andrew post a heartfelt tribute to his mother or say kind words. We see him brag to people about how his autism diagnosis actually wasn't overturned and how they said that he is autistic and how he doesn't owe any money to any of the facilities that housed him for years, you know, for months or potentially years. With that being said, I wanted to leave off on an update from Joe Ditch. He's the only one that's been making any coherent updates, you know, making condolences to his mother, actually talking about what's going on with his family and seeming genuine about the whole situation. Here's the video that he had to make, and this is the most recent update on the matter.
Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. As many of you know, my mother unfortunately is no longer with us. She passed away on April 30th, 2025, just 3 days after my birthday. And I didn't realize this at the time, but my one aunt who died last year died on May 3rd. So I want to reflect on some of that today in today's episode. This is not going to be a bits and bobs. This is just going to be a random talking head video, and maybe I'll show you some clips that I have captured during this time. But for the most part, I'm going to keep that separate right now because I think it's just a little too soon to release all of the stuff I have captured. I did not capture anything from the funeral or anything like that, just because I don't think that was right or anything like that, and I'm just going to, you know, reflect on everything and give you some channel updates. I plan on going back to Joe's Bits and Bobs next week. I'll start recording those episodes again. What happened after the 30th? Well, I was at work. I was trying to work because I thought, you know, my mom was they were going to do a procedure, find out why she wasn't eating. She for at least a year and a half, she was on and off not being able to eat because she was constantly in pain. And they were supposed to do a scope. And I will go over all that later too, because I think it's a little too early to tell. But I was at work and I got a phone call from Miller Fillmore Hospital saying that my dad and I had an important decision to make, and we went up to the hospital, and that's where we found out that her condition has deteriorated a lot. Again, I'll go over a lot more later in a later episode, but on a whole, I don't think the medical field, especially the nursing home where she was at, didn't listen to us. I believe that's the case. Again, I'm not going to go in too much into depth in that. That's, between me and my dad at this point, but I would probably be releasing something later about what I believe what happened there. After we made the decision, we stayed with her until almost her time of passing. We had to go home and take care of the dogs. So when we got home at like around 10:15 or so, I let the dogs out, and 15 to 30 minutes later, we got the phone call from the hospital that she had passed. It's almost like she wanted us to, take care of the dogs, which, she loves her dogs so much, and it's just hard right now.
Now, obviously, I'm not going to play the whole thing. That's basically a condensed version. If you want to see the whole thing, I'll make sure to leave a link to Joe's channel in the description below. I'll probably also leave a card in the beginning of the video because I think I also mentioned it there as well. It's crazy how different both of these responses were. They have such a different tone. You see Andy, who's there talking about himself the whole time, talking about his diagnosis. He has to mix his autism in there. Whereas Joe is straight to the point. He talks about what's important and he's letting everybody know the details on what happened. Andrew Ditch doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't think people want to hear about his mother. He thinks they want to hear about him being trolled, so that's all he talks about. Him being trolled and the fact that he's in a group home now. Dude couldn't take a break from his malingering for 1 day. Joe was able to take a break from his series for like 2 weeks. He still hasn't posted anything, I don't think, as far as his Bits and Bobs series go. But on Mother's Day, there Andrew Ditch was talking about how he won against all the bad people who were trying to force him out of his group homes and out of his facilities that the state was paying for, I think it's just gonna get worse from here. It seems like Andrew Ditch is basically back full force. He's been uploading these weather updates and I feel like he's just gonna get more and more confident, and eventually we're gonna get Andrew Ditch posting and ranting again, making videos for everybody to see where he's yelling about the trolls, talking about how he doesn't fake. But we'll just have to wait and see. With that being said, that's the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you watched it the way to the end, you're the best. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.